Just not what I need. And there's no spare wheel either. It's like really not what I need this morning. Holy cats. I'm gonna puncture. Everything I've been through this week. Oh man. So like what now? It's not flat, so I'm gonna try and drive it to a garage and inflate it. We can get the car open. Here's the keys. Lovely. There it is. Screw. Back up. What a mission. That did just not go as expected. I'm really feeling out of it this morning. Like last night was just a bit hectic. Got home late. I was up early this morning checking our network. Our network's fine, by the way. And then kind of going back and forth with Andre, and I'm like, cool, I need coffee and I need eggs Benedict. I will meet you at the daily. So got all my stuff together, tried to leave, got upstairs, and I was like, crap, I have a flat tire. Fortunately, I was a bit worried because on the way home last night, there's quite a lot of roadworks in Muizenberg, and you kind of drive over drain covers and all kinds of stuff. And I was worried that I'd cut the tire, and that's what caused the puncture. And cutting the tire would mean a new tire, and that's expensive, and I just wasn't in the mood for any of that crap. So the upshot is that in fact it is just a screw in the tire, which I obviously picked up from somewhere, and I'm sure they can fix that quite quickly and easily and simply. In the meantime, my mate has lent me his car, so I've got the broken tire in the boot, and we'll drop that off. Tiger Wheel and Tyre literally is like over the road from the daily, so it's kind of convenient. I can just drop the tire off, walk over the road, and then go have my coffee and my eggs Benedict. I know I keep promising this, and I will do a proper iWeek catch up at some point. Maybe I'll just do like a dedicated video of that. I just have so much going on at the moment. It's like a million things that need attention, like all the work we didn't get to the last couple of days we need to try and catch up on now. I want to take rocking in not like a whole new direction, but in like a little bit of a new direction. I want to do some cool new stuff. So yeah, like there's a lot on my plate at the moment. From a personal perspective, there's a lot on my plate as well. So trying to kind of juggle life and business and everything in between is quite tricky. It's quite tricky to say the least. So yeah, I am heading to the daily, and I just need a cup of coffee. I like really badly need a cup of coffee. Oh, the other thing, before I forget, I'm actually going to go hardcore for a couple of weeks just filming on the Fusion.
Phone disconnected.
Yes, the phone's disconnected. I'm going to go hardcore on the Fusion for a couple of weeks, filming exclusively on that, and just see what the outcome's like. Like, does it actually work as a vlogging camera? Right, so I am done with Andre, and I'm done with the daily. Kind of weird driving somebody else's. It's different. Like, I drive a lot of press cars. It's like different when it's a mate's car. Anyways, so done at the daily, done with a million emails. 2 of the jobs we had lined up this week are cancelled. Just things happening differently to the way we thought they would, but that's fine. I've got a bunch of other stuff I need to organize this afternoon, so I'm off to Tiger Wheel and Tyre to go fetch the flat tire, and then I get to go and put the flat tire, the not so flat tire, back on the car. trying to replace a tyre, deal with downlinks the other side of the country. Right, so I'm running a couple of errands. Insurance fixed, wheels good. Running a couple of errands quickly in preparation for this weekend. It's going to be a 20-minute, half an hour drive, so I thought I'd steal 5 or 10 minutes and talk about iWeek and like what happened. So iWeek is hosted by ISPA, which is the ISP Association of South Africa, in conjunction with this year SAFNOG, which is the Southern African Network Operators Group, not the South African. That's the ZANOG, which we organize and run. So SAFNOG is run by a group of people that kind of cover the Southern African region. This year it was hosted in South Africa, and it sort of joined with iWeek. So we had 3 days: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Monday was mostly iWeek stuff. Tuesday, Wednesday was a bit of iWeek, a bit of SAFNOG. Lots of workshops, lots of presentations, lots of them at the same time, and I'm a little bleak that like sometimes there were 2 presentations that I was like really keen to go and watch or listen to, and like I'd pick one, so that was less than ideal. But all the stuff's on YouTube. There are 1 or 2, well, they're going to be on YouTube this week. I'll go and watch them there. So a couple of big takeaways for me, broadly speaking, about the internet and like where we're going. Google and Facebook are busy working on 2 subterranean cables that are going to run down the east coast and the west coast of Africa and bring a serious amount of capacity through to Africa. Google and Facebook are running with this because they need the capacity. They need more eyeballs. They need more people online. Google and Facebook are considered OTT providers. So in other words, they're over-the-top providers. They provide services on top of the actual data, or the actual sort of data link. And so obviously like their business model is eyeballs. And Africa has 1.3 billion people, of which a very small percentage of those people are actually connected and are using those services. In comparison, percentage-wise, in comparison to Europe and the US, of course. But a lot of that is mostly a saturation. I mean, Google and Facebook's growth in Europe and the US is really just going to keep pace with like population growth at this point. China's tricky, India's a work in progress, but Africa is like the next big frontier for connectivity. So that was really interesting, kind of seeing big players like that wanting to invest in communications in Africa. In terms of thinking about where to take rocking and like what we're doing, it's interesting to see what the lay of the land is in terms of layer 2 providers, data center providers, IP providers, transit providers, who's doing what. Some spaces are incredibly saturated, other spaces are a lot less saturated. You can kind of see where demand is for connectivity, or you can see where the demand is in the internet space when you go to a conference like this, and you can kind of see what's happening. So that's big. We're getting a lot more fiber on the coasts. It is going to make connectivity slightly cheaper, but not by much, because the big expensive part, so that's $2 billion to connect all of Africa with like literally 10 to 100 times the capacity we have at the moment. The part that's really lucrative and the part that's like really important is the part that's not necessarily expensive, but like really hard and really tricky. And that's actually getting the data from the landing stations to the end user, right? Landing station to data center is usually quite easy. That's one big fat cable, multi-core cable, and we can run like petabits of capacity from the landing stations to the data centers. That's easy. Normally 1 or 2 people would do that, and like it's in a relatively short time frame. Going from there and actually building out fiber to the home networks, building out fiber to the business networks, building out Wi-Fi networks, 5G, and like all the weird oddities coming around 5G. that's the hard part, and it's tricky because it's not just difficult in terms of like how do we actually build these networks and build enough capacity, like what is the capacity demand going to be. It's tricky from like a political point of view because a lot of different areas will try and hold on to their sort of turf. So depending on where you go and who the building manager is and who owns the property and who's getting kickbacks in the government for like which areas can be dug up, and you'll have 2 or 3 different fiber to the home providers apply for the same area. One of them gets a way leave approved before the others even get any feedback on their way leave because maybe there was like a bit of a backhand deal. So like there's all kinds of weird stuff in the industry like that. It's hard to just kind of dig up and do the civils. You kind of have neighborhoods. I've seen a couple of neighborhoods go through this where fiber to the home providers go in, like literally just trench up the entire neighborhood, and they just drop the fiber in the ground, but they rip up people's driveways, they rip up their flower beds and their gardens, and like they have to reinstate all that stuff. But it takes time and it's complicated. And now the guy's driveway is like tar, but it's got like new tar over here where they dug it up with the bricks, and the bricks weren't laid the same way. And like, I mean, that's like really petty stuff, but it's real. And then these are the challenges that fiber to the home providers or fiber providers face. You're also laying fiber, you run out of capacity, you need to lay more fiber, you need to resplice fiber. We get that quite often with some of our links where they go down for maintenance, and it's because new fiber's been added, panels need to be moved, and they literally need to cut massive cables and resplice the lot, and it's 100, 200 splices. Guys are under pressure to do it overnight, things go wrong, links go down. Building wireless links is challenging. Like we face some serious challenges in a lot of our links just in terms of power. We generally build links, we build masts in such a way that they don't fall over. We haven't lost a mast in a while, and actually about 2 years ago there was a mega storm in Cape Town, so bad they actually closed the schools for a day. And in all of that we didn't lose a single mast. The only damage we had is one of our brackets actually bent, and our mast was at an angle and the alignment to the antenna was out. Link didn't go down, alignment was horribly out, but the link stayed up. There was still some data flow on it. But our challenges are often power. Like, you know, we've got a couple of high sites in industrial parks, and they'll just turn the damn power off on a Saturday because they're doing maintenance or work, and our links go down. You know, like, so how much battery capacity do we put in? Like, are our batteries safe? Like, do we do we go the solar route? Like, are our panels safe? Like, especially in more remote areas. So, like, the logistics of building the infrastructure, the logistics of actually getting these links to the end users everywhere is challenging. In affluent areas, it's obviously a lot easier and a lot cheaper because it's on a high-end, more affluent area. There's going to be a bigger uptake. Like, you lay fiber, 1,000 Rand, 2,000 Rand a month for fiber in, LSM 9 and 10 areas, no problem. So the providers know going in, putting the infrastructure in, they're going to recoup their investment. You go into lower LSM areas, suddenly everybody's not so hot and heavy to dig up the trenches and lay the fiber because, like, it's a longer return period. I'm not recovering your money over 5 to 7 years. You're now down to 10 to 13 years. So, like, it's a serious challenge. How do you get to other areas? How do we like build infrastructure? And I'm talking about South Africa. Like, we haven't even started tapping Africa. Like, in terms of the opportunity that there is, which to me actually was like a whole new thing this year. Like, just chatting to people and understanding the opportunities that exist in Africa. So that's something that I'm thinking about. It's something that I'm kind of looking at and going like where do we build our networks? Like, what do we do and how do we do it? And obviously, as I've said in my previous videos, like, we have a business model, it works. I'm just always thinking, like, what's the next thing? Like, where's the puck going and where should I be skating to? I don't want to be skating where the puck is at the moment and wake up in 3 years' time, look around and go like, oh crap, the business has moved over there and now I'm stuffed. So, high level, that's a recap or an overview of what happened at iWeek and kind of logistically what happened. Oh, the other thing, before I forget, the other big thing that happened at iWeek, or that I started properly paying attention to, and not just because I know we need to do it, but from like, this is how we go, or how are we going to do this thing, is IPv6, and understanding transition mechanisms, like IPv6 transition versus IPv6 dual stacking. What are the benefits? Why you want to do one without the other? Why you want to do one, not the other? And the only way I can like really describe this whole IPv6 thing for me, and actually for everybody, like I was watching some of the bigger IP guys. It gets a little bit. It's like a picture. Remember when we used to have like VGA monitors and 56K dial-up connections, and you'd like load an image on the web and you'd wait for it. It's like all pixelated, and then like as the data is like coming through, it gets like less and less and less and less and less pixelated until like the picture's clear. Like to me, every time I sit through one of these IPv6 sessions, like I have an idea of what IPv6 is, and I understand what it works like, and it's like a very blurry picture to me. And then like the more of these sessions I sit in, the more I sort of come out going like it's a little bit clearer and a little bit clearer and a little bit clearer, to the point where I can actually look at the picture now and go like, like I actually know what's going on here. It's not crystal clear, but I know what's going on here. I can see enough and understand enough to make intelligent decisions. So that was like really exciting for me, like just thinking about IPv6 space, thinking about how that changes our network, how that changes the internet. And yeah, just like some of the cool stuff we can do with it, and how vastly different it is actually to like the way that we have been doing things, and the implications that it has for our little business. Like new equipment we need, different equipment we need, how do we do things, how do we implement things. So yeah, fun times, like really, really fun times.